Axial Age, the young team. For half an hour now, Lucy and Greta had been admiring the beautiful bouquet on the table, sipping sake. They had planned to have a great time together, but now the conversation had somehow hit a dead end. Greta munched on chips with a bored expression. "Lucy, maybe I could give you a manicure? That would be great, but I already have one. I wouldn't want to mess it up." Lucy hadn't expected that a party with her best friend at her place would turn out to be so dull. She brushed her long hair back from her shoulders and tried to think of what else they could do. They had baked pastries, done each other's hair, flipped through magazines, and even danced. Her gaze drifted back to the bouquet. "Hey Greta, did I ever tell you where floristry originated from? I did some research recently and found out that garland weaving was invented in ancient Greece." The girl with wavy blonde hair nodded drowsily. "Of course, where else? You mentioned your father's obsession with antiquity, the golden age of art and philosophy." Lucy pouted, a little offended. "But it's true. My father specializes in the axial age after all." "Oh." Lucy suddenly jumped up. "I know what we can do. This is going to be really interesting. Follow me." Greta was surprised by her friend's sudden change in mood and perked up as well. Without asking any questions, she followed Lucy, who made sure her father wasn't home before leading them down to the basement. "This is my dad's lab," Lucy said mysteriously. "I hope no one's down there right now." But when the girls opened the door, they saw a trainee named Nick working on some new project. Lucy wasn't discouraged. She walked over to the boy and casually asked what he was doing. Nick, clearly caught off guard, hadn't expected such stunning girls to take an interest in him. He adjusted his glasses and stammered a bit before answering, "Well, the professor and I are developing a new super powerful battery," something like that. Lucy moved closer and said slowly, "Oh, that's insanely interesting. But my friend and I are dying of boredom, so we've decided to take a trip to ancient Greece in the time machine. You don't mind, do you? We'll just take a quick look at Pausias and Glycera and then come right back. And my dad doesn't need to know about it." Nick gathered the courage to protest. "That's out of the question, Miss Lucy. The machine still needs additional testing and some refinements. I can't allow you to take such a risk." Lucy moved even closer, now looking directly into Nicholas's eyes. "Nonsense, you little liar. I know my father has already successfully traveled through time several times without any complications, but he's such a cautious type. It'll probably be 100 years before he organizes a real expedition. If you're worried, then you'll come with us. After all, you know everything about this device, and we'll be grateful passengers. Come on, don't be scared. I always thought you were a very brave person, Nick." Of course, Nick couldn't withstand such pressure and gave in, especially since he had long harbored feelings for his teacher's daughter. Greta just watched the show and smirked. Well, isn't she something? Though she only truly believed in the existence of the time machine when she saw it in action. It wasn't exactly a machine, but a portal. The gates, made from a special alloy, generated a gravitational anomaly, distorting space and time. A special computer was connected to them, allowing the process to be controlled. First, Nick programmed the location and time of the journey. "So," Lucy announced ceremoniously, "we're heading to ancient Sicyon, the great city of artists." Nick politely pointed out, "I'm sorry, boss, but we need to put on special suits first. They'll protect us during the journey and allow us to stay undetected anywhere if we activate the invisibility mode." Greta exclaimed, "Wow, that's awesome! No one will see us, and we can enjoy our walk without worrying about someone from the past spotting a strange group from the future." She laughed heartily. A few minutes later, the newly formed team of time travelers was fully equipped and 100% ready for their journey. Nick activated the portal, and a glowing vortex appeared in the air. "Let's hold hands and go through together, just in case. I hope the portal opened in a safe place on the other side." The girls exchanged glances. Nick added, "Well, like I said, we're still working on this project. Let's hope for the best," and all three boldly stepped into the unknown. They stepped through, but on the other side, they felt no ground beneath their feet and tumbled down from a meter-high drop. "Ouch!" Greta groaned. "I'm going to break a nail at this rate." "What nonsense! Calm down!" Lucy replied, getting to her feet. "We didn't know the exact ground level here, and 2,000 years can change a lot. That's why Nick programmed the portal's height as precisely as possible. The suits are for situations like this." Nick confirmed. "That's right. And the suits were designed for any situation. They have a lot of features." The travelers looked around. The portal was nowhere to be seen, but instead, they were surrounded by a field of flowers and olive groves. Large stones were scattered here and there. "Nick," Lucy asked, "where did the portal go? We have 10 hours before it opens again. By that time, we need to be back here. If not, we'll be stuck in this era forever." Greta was about to scream, but Lucy covered her mouth with her hand. "Shh, Nick's just joking. In the worst case, we can send a distress signal with our suits. It's not that bad. And by the way, am I crazy, or are those sheep actually watching us?" Nick suddenly realized, we didn't activate the invisibility. No wonder they're staring. At least they're just sheep and can't tell anyone about us. With that, Nick pressed a button on his bracelet and disappeared. "Now it's your turn." The girls followed suit, and by the sheep's surprised expressions, it was clear that it had worked. They could still see each other's outlines by activating a special function in their masks. Now, the girls had a full 10 hours to enjoy themselves. Lucy had long wanted to see, in person, the woman who elevated the art of flower arranging to a whole new level, not just with garlands, but with painting as well. "I'd call Glycera the first color theorist," Lucy mused. The incredibly successful color combinations in her bouquets influenced painting theory. Greta asked, "How did that happen?" Lucy smiled mysteriously. "I hope you'll understand when you see it, but I have no idea where to go. I think we should head toward the city, and then we'll see." The travelers walked in silence for a while, admiring the beautiful landscape. The city was now within reach, and suddenly, they heard a quiet but very melodious song. Lucy climbed a hill and saw a girl sitting in a meadow with a large bunch of flowers. She was weaving a garland and singing. Beside her sat a young man, watching her work intently. Occasionally, they would talk and laugh about something. Lucy called her companions closer. "My intuition was right. We found Glycera and Pausias. We should get closer and listen to what they're talking about." "And who's this Pausias?" Greta asked. He was the first notable master of encaustic painting, a student of Pamphilus from Sicyon, renowned primarily for his paintings of children and flowers. His most famous work was The Garland Weaver, believed to be a portrait of his beloved Glycera. He rarely painted large works on panels, but when he did, he achieved brilliant effects in color. Greta perked up. "You mean this is really them? How romantic." The girl and the boy in the meadow kissed, and the time travelers felt a little awkward. "I'd love to see that portrait everyone admires so much. We have plenty of time. Maybe we can peek into his workshop?" Greta suggested. "It's unclear if it even exists yet," Lucy remarked with a sigh. Meanwhile, the three of them had drawn close enough to overhear the conversation between the young man and the girl. Thanks to her father, Lucy was well versed in ancient Greek, while the other members of the expedition activated their automatic translators. Paisios commented, "Wow, what an interesting combination of colors you've used. It's both contrasting and delicate at the same time. Why did you choose to do it this way?" The girl looked thoughtfully at the garland in her outstretched hand and replied, "The human eye always finds it more pleasing to compare several similar shades, like yellow, orange, and pink. But without a drastically opposite color like purple or blue, it would all seem monotonous. I also add cool colors in small amounts so they glow like pearls." "That's a fascinating perspective," Paisios agreed. Artists often create paintings with a warm palette, partly because there's a wide range of earthy pigments available, while blue is quite an expensive luxury. "When I return home, I'll try to paint this garland. I really like how it turned out. I'll buy it from you." After some time, Lucy, Greta, and Nick followed Pesios to his workshop while Glycera went to sell the garlands at the market. Pesios's workshop was incredibly cozy, filled with wooden boards for painting, pigments, and of course, with finished masterpieces displayed on tables and shelves. A true museum. The travelers were entranced as they looked around. Lucy had never seen anything more beautiful. The delicate layers of paint, the refined color palette. It was hard to believe this was encaustic painting, but there was no sign of Glycera's portrait anywhere. Though that was to be expected, it couldn't be that easy. Pesios washed his hands, drank some water, and sat down at the table where another board lay. Something seemed to be taking shape on it. As Lucy approached, she was surprised to find a linear sketch on the board. It wasn't just a drawing of flowers or a landscape, but of a girl sitting on the grass with a wreath in her hands. "It's a pity we didn't see the finished painting. We'll have to move forward in time to do that," Lucy said sadly as they made their way back to the portal. "But I did take a photo of the first stage of the painting. It will be a memento of our first journey." "You said first?" Nick asked cautiously. "Yes, I did. I think we make a great team. It was fun. Let's keep exploring the mysteries of the past together. And Nick, don't forget to erase all the information about this trip when we get back, so Dad doesn't suspect anything, okay? I think you can handle it." End of episode 1.
So now, guys, the universe will give me a new task. And let's begin with the genre. Non-fiction. Oh, this is quite interesting. What's next? And this is a birthday theme. Very nice. I think it can be something autobiographical or something like this. See you next week. Bye everyone.